Back again. Nice little Tuesday chill stream. Doing some artwork on the graphic novel Militia Man. I tried to get the computer to go horizontal instead of vertical like this, and I don't know, it just wouldn't work. It kept sort of telling me, turn the phone correctly, something, and I don't know, it just wouldn't work. So, I mean, I kind of like this orientation just simply because that's the shape of the page, but I guess it'll have to suffice until something else can be figured out. So I had a good show today with Patriot Community Arts in the UK. Very cool. So the dude there, his name's Paul, and he runs that, puts it together. And he and I are now talking about doing a weekly show. So isn't that cool? Pretty sweet. Come up with something. My intention is to bring together the two arts communities, the Patriot Arts community, based in the UK, and the White Art Collective, based in America. Now, a lot of our artists are really, in both groups, so I don't 100% know, who's in which, etc. But either way, it's going to be really, really cool to get this culture all in one place in one time. Now, the other thing, of course, is the time zones. We're figuring out the time zones there, right? Already I'm looking at having one friend from Denmark, and then Paul from UK, and me on the East Coast. So that's going to be pretty crazy to find one time that the three of us can work or come together on the show. Going to have different guests each week according to whoever can make it. If it's just Paul and I, that's fine. But he actually came up with the idea, and then I'm the idea faucet. I can take something and run with it, and expand it, connect it, improve on it, etc. Because he likes my art streams, and he does a lot of digital art, graphic design, web design stuff, and he's like, I really want to get back to drawing, and that's where he came up with a specific idea. I'm not quite gonna say yet what that will be. A little bit of a surprise. I'm super excited about it. And so I made an announcement in the monthly White Art Challenge group, which I think for all intents and purposes is the new iteration of the White Art Collective. So yeah, I'm just doing my part to try to pull the community together. There's, in his estimate, there is like 300 people in the group in the UK, and my estimate there's about, I don't know, maybe 300 in the White Art Collective, in like stateside. Those numbers are not exact. They're just estimates. And like I said, a lot of the people are in both groups. Yada yada. But long story short, the sure is going to be a lot of artists in one place, so that ought to be pretty cool and pretty fun. Where we go from there is, remains to be seen. Um, the main activity of the artists in these groups are these kind of monthly these monthly theme challenges. There might be maybe this month is our ancestors, or next month is Art Deco, or there could be anything, and so I guess you get the idea. It's just pretty cool stuff. So I'm kind of doing my thing here. There's some pretty big announcements forthcoming that I won't be talking about at the moment, but you'll see how important it is that we draw the community together once these announcements are made. But that's cool. What a fan. Oops, I screwed up on that. That was wrong. Sometimes you shouldn't talk when you're drawing. Now I have these funky dunky pens that let me see if I can find them. Well, the ones that seem to be available are still wrapped up in the container, but they just have like white ink in them, and once in a while you need to make an edit, and they make these things like hard to open. So I don't know what's not made of gold in there, but I kind of grabbed one of these guys. If only life came with whiteout or an eraser, and you can erase all your bad choices and all your mistakes. Here's something I've just been thinking about lately, is how we're all just a work in progress. Everybody's a work in progress. It's okay to still be figuring things out, Now, all the white ink is inside here, but I need to kind of get it out of here without, like splattering it all over the place. And I get, shit, that's not working. Let's see. Maybe I'll just save that for Photoshop, because like sometimes, so this has some kind of liquid in it that's tearing up the paper, and I'm not going there. Anyway, back to this. I don't know if anybody is here yet. It's really just, Vardabach is so great. Good afternoon, Don. Thanks for joining the show earlier today, Vardabach. It's always great to have you around. Looks like I've got 4 people, about 1 person in the chat, so it'd be nice if the other 3 people said hi and can know who's here. It's always nice. Let's see. So how did you like the show today, Vardabach, with Paul from Patriot Art? Yeah, he's done a heck of a lot of work. He really deserves a massive amount of credit. I don't know, I didn't really follow them, closely. I knew of their existence, they're on my radar, but I didn't actually follow them. So for me, the interview was kind of a chance to get to know him and the group and what they do. So it was kind of cool. Pretty groovy. Oops, I think maybe I need to back out a little bit or something. I'm kind of off screen here. Hold on. There we go. What else we got? The White Wellbeing Project is here. Wow. Welcome. Great to have you. It's me. I'm just listening on my way to work. the White Well-Being Project. I am not familiar with you. Do I know you? Are we on the same? Have we interacted before? I something that happens a lot in our sphere is there's people that have different accounts under different names, you know, and they're like, hey, it's me, Joe, or whatever, and like, from blah blah. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, this is my other account, yada yada. So that's cool. But anything that's for white well-being, I am for. Definitely, most definitely. Hmm. But yeah, that topic of like, you know, everybody is a work in progress. I think probably the best skill to have in life is to kind of see when and where one is, well, yeah, where and when somebody's wrong about something, and to not kind of cling to one's ego and be able to change with new knowledge. In fact, to want new knowledge, and you know, to want to learn and to want to grow. Um, it's just that's been a thing I've said like a bazillion times on social media where, like, hey, I'm out here. This is where I'm at. This is what I know. Here's the data. And then someone will like blah blah blah, and I'm like, that's okay, fine. You know, just show me. You know, show me, and then I'll gladly change because it's not about my pride. It's about the truth. You know. And especially if you're the kind of person who can't live a lie, then you know the pride or ego is kind of a horrifying thing to you, because you know then you're living in like a delusion of some kind. You know? And I also not really sure that everybody can know everything either. You know, I'm very suspicious of people who kind of claim to know everything about anything. You know. I'm quite sure there's people that know, you know, a lot about stuff or whatever. But in the world of politics and such, information is really key, you know. And we know that it's often spun to have a certain narrative, you know, that serves a certain purpose. So yeah, that's probably the hardest thing is to see through your own whatevers. You know, there was a Buddhist monk who said something like, if tomorrow it was shown that X is false, then X about Buddhism, you know, that I would just stop believing it. You know, and then there's the topic of like belief and fact. So I can't tell you how many, you know, debates or conversations I've had with people about politics specifically. And once they see that I know a lot about something, and I don't have like a materialism of knowledge, I'm not saying like, oh, I know more than you, I'm better than it. That's retarded. But rather, I do happen to know a lot about X, and therefore, here's the, you know, here's the truth of X, you know. And they kind of get flustered because they have to admit that their beliefs were wrong. And and they're like, well, that's what you believe, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion. And I say, opinions are not facts. Facts are not opinions. This is facts, you know. And it always kind of boils down to people not wanting to. I don't know, they're just clinging to an ego thing. I mean, unless I'm wrong about that, even. I mean, maybe it's something else, you know. But it seems to me that it's like I'm totally invested in this particular belief, so therefore, you know, I can't change, you know. Um, and what was the other night we were having a discussion? What was it? Oh, I was on Yiz's show, the Discordant Dragons, um, last night actually, and you know, it's a panel of just like, you know, really really bright people, very very learned people, and you know, people that run like philosophy shows and political commentary shows. They're, you know, it's a, yeah, higher end audience, or rather panel, I should say. The audience is cool too. But anyway, um, and I brought up this point about how I think that like one of the biggest problems with the white community and how we got to where we are is this kind of what I called like a snobbery of like, you know, I believe these things, and if, you know, only, you know, I don't know, only low class people believe in these other things, and therefore I'm better than you. And it's a sort of a bourgeois kind of attitude. And then even though you can say, well, okay, here's the data on that thing, and therefore that's not correct. And then, you know, they freak out at you, you know. Um, and because they have to relinquish their identity, you know, whatever it is that they believe, that they're clinging to, that they define themselves by. And that's a problem, you know, that's a kind of a problem. Um, I'm wondering if I'm done with this page. It kind of feels sort of maybe, yeah. So I sort of kind of think I'll move on. Do. Okay, it looks like we're getting into the thick of it, folks. We got the new characters coming in a second here. And that's going to be a big change in the storyline. I better check the chat, see what you guys are talking about. Great stream, Patriarchs. Paul is super nice guy too. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're just, you know, just starting to get to know each other. Yeah, it was a good stream today. It was really good. It's always fun and cool to see like, oh wow, there's something's cooking, you know, something's brewing here. I feel like our online culture needs something new. You know, there's a lot going on in the world. It's not like we're not doing anything or whatever. We're out there kicking it. But I don't know. It's like the White Art Collective had its heyday, and then a bunch of things happened, and everybody's kind of off doing their own projects. I don't want to go into that. Hold on. And so, you know, we're still doing stuff, but not the way we were. So, anyway, all right, I gotta get some things kind of squared off here. Gotta have my reference sheets here. Oh man. Got all these really cool superhero characters that I've designed, but they're not the ones from this story. So hang tight. Alright, and we're back. There we go. So yeah, I need a refresher on some of the costumes. They all have, you know, unique uniform costumes, and especially since I haven't really started drawing the new characters yet. I gotta have these references. And it's not. I hate doing a show and then like there's one thing I can't find and I can't do the show. So I should have set that up. I should have found those damn references before I started the show. Because now I'm kind of in this situation. Oh, I think I found them. Okay. Ah, there they are. Gotcha. Okay, so. Whew. Boy, I just saved the day. So here's one of the characters, Animatra. She's like a Hispanic character who has a kind of, she does like Santeria and has like power over the spirits and ghosts and things. So she's got kind of a neat concept. There's our West Guard. He's kind of, if you recognize those symbols, you'll know what he is. That's like him with like different parts of his costume. You can kind of get the general idea here. So I'm gonna need this set aside, and I'll put that away. And I love this character. Golden Heart is what I call him. He's actually based on a character from the 1930s Golden Age comics. I think it's called the Golden Kid or something. Anyway. That's not really relevant to what I'm doing right now, though. And there is Song of the South, who we call SOS for short. It's kind of a neat little shit. This was like one of the early iterations of the old man. The old man in the story. He looks a lot worse in this picture. I was sort of trying to imagine who's the Marlboro Man actor. He was in Ghost Rider, The Mustache. He was in The Big Lebowski. I did a portrait of him. He's kind of a cowboy character. I sort of pictured him, but like more balding and less, less attractive, I guess. But put that away. So here's our Jormor character. Now, there's actually two designs of her here. I think I'm going to go with this one because it seems more streamlined. I just, like, this one's pretty neat, but it just seems like it's got too much extra junk on it or something. I'm not so sure. I don't know. Which one do you guys like better? This is more, I think, superhero-y. It's a little more slick. And this one has, I don't know, she's got this kind of funky jacket. And it's like, well, she still has the fur boots. I just feel like if you're in battle, this could be kind of cumbersome, maybe. Whereas here, it's a little more battle-ready. You have to think of stuff like that. I'm going to check the chat. Nothing really, so, okay. So, let's keep going. But yeah, I pretty much decided to stick with the more streamlined one. A lot of these other characters are the new Maga Force characters. They'll show up a little bit later. And then there's our Sheepdog guy. He's not really, doesn't have like a superhero costume. He's just got your basic, I don't know what to call it, like whatever this is. I don't know if there's a name for that type of clothing or something, but he normally would have, like, say, an AK-47. He's got all his guns and shit, but his superpower is that he's sort of like a werewolf, but instead of turning into a wolf, he turns into a giant sheepdog that's like half man, half sheepdog, and on like a Hulk type scale. So, very powerful, badass type guy, But I love the concept of the sheepdog, that in the world there's sheep and that's that. And I'm gonna definitely need that. He's in the scene right here. He's kind of small in this particular image. All right, so I think we can get started. This is a really she turns out to be like a really evil, bad character. We'll get to that down the road. I really like hate this girl, this woman. She's like it's just such an evil bitch in the story. Um, when you guys finally one day get around to that, you'll know what I mean. But anyway, moving on. So here we go. They are. I don't know. You can see okay. Yeah. So the dude is like, "Oh my God, you just healed me. How did you do that?" You know, and not only that, he thought that he was invincible, but he can get injured. So in the dialogue here is the guys or the old man is kind of explaining to him like, you don't know it yet, but you have this other purpose, this higher purpose, and you've got to meet up with the FASH force. And he's like, FASH force? What the hell? You're an agent with FASH force or something? And like, because he thinks of FASH force as the enemy at this point in the story. And all the members of FASH force were previous members of MAGA force, so they all know each other. Only Militia Man thinks that they're traitors, that they left. It's kind of like what do you call them? In the news right now, in Massachusetts, the Patriot Front did a march, and hold on, I gotta get my center point here. So they did a march, and just like clockwork, all of the kind of Republicard, boomers and all those guys, they come out and like, oh, feds, and they can't fathom the fact that there's actual nationalists that have real balls and actually know how to stand up for their own people and their own country, and make a sort of a public show that this is our country and we want it back and all of these kinds of things. So yeah, it's it's a thing. I hope I'm making sense. I've discovered by watching my streams that drawing and talking at the same time don't always sometimes it don't work, because I should be maybe doing one instead of the other, like one at a time, I should say. Anyway, but I'm feeling pretty good today. I feel real nice that I was able to get that show and get that off the ground, and that Paul wants to do some kind of weekly show with me now, which is really great. Yeah, I just feel compelled to, do something for the community, and have events that or shows rather that people can kind of rally around and enjoy, kind of get to know each other, etc. And it's looking like I'll probably be on Yiz's show on like once a month or something like that as well. So she's essentially connected with, or part of, the white well-being sphere, no white guilt sphere, if you will. And so I would love it if somehow I became kind of the fulcrum between these three communities with her show, Patriarchs, monthly White Art Collective, White Art Challenge, I should say. So it's looking like it's shaping up in that way, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But if you want something done, you gotta do it yourself. So I'm getting out there and doing it. So what's going on with you guys? What are you up to? What's your take on the situation in Israel? Hamas, what do you call it? Gaza Strip. Something that I want to make a little comment on is that this is my position that, you know, people in the white positive sphere that are trying to associate us with Hamas in any way are hurting us, that we have no affiliation with them whatsoever. There's clearly a huge distinction between Hamas and the Palestinian people, you know. So, you know, I don't celebrate that anybody is being bombed or hurt in any way, you know, whatsoever. But it can't be. It's just a very tricky time that we're in because there's a lot of narratives being thrown around, and we, you know, if you had to pick a side, my side is white people. You know, like that's my side. This is really just another war created by the Jews to, you know, drag us down and kill our people and destroy our economy and take more land that isn't theirs and not, you know, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. So I'm 100% against it, and you know, I don't think that there's any kind of strategic alliance that our movement could have with the Palestinians, because the media will tie us to Hamas, and that's insane. You couldn't get farther from, like, in no way are we in any way like connected to them whatsoever. So, you know, the old adage of the enemy of my, what is it, the enemy of my enemy is my friend doesn't work in this case, because we don't associate with people who do the kinds of things that they do. So that's pretty clear. I don't know how much clearer that can be. Again, it's kind of not to say that, like, you know, Palestine for the Palestinians or whatever, all that kind of stuff. But we just have to stay out. You know, we got to stay out of it. It's important. There's a lot of hotheads in our movement, I think, and they don't represent everybody. You know, they don't. They're not. They can speak their minds. They're free to say what they want to say. You know, fine and well. You know, but just because they happen to be a representative of X group doesn't mean that they represent everybody who is involved in the white positive sphere. So I think these things like this need to be said. And you know, you can talk to me about it. It's not like you have to agree with what I say, but this is definitely what I think. You know, I'm not alone in that thinking, but yeah. So there you go. All right, it's time to break the seal. I've got to get into this. I'm gonna check the chat though real fast before I do that. Wow, I'm not sure I can read your name, but it's great to have you here while we, those are some funky letters there. Maybe you can type it out so I can read it. That'd be cool. Anyway, always great to have new people, new friends hanging out with us. So that's very, very cool. Been getting a lot of new subscribers, which is really, really cool. I'm kind of playing the game a little bit too. I just did another YouTube short. And I'll take some of my art and do the shorts are just shorts. They're just tiny little videos, but they have like really nice filters that you can use, and then a little bit of music on it. And then it gives it a really fun cinematic quality. So I've been doing a bit more of that. The other thing too is that YouTube has some kind of thing where, like, if you want to monetize your channel, you have to have like so many of these shorts. So that is kind of what I'm after. And like the monetization, I'm not really even. I should look up more about how that works, because if it means having commercials on, I don't. Anybody who knows me knows I effing hate commercials, you know. So I wouldn't want to put my audience through that either. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Anyway, I'll look it up. I'll see what it is that I need to know. It's jazz time at the Donald Kent Studio. Are you guys cool with the jazz, or I mean, is there some other kind of music that you'd like to put on? It's, I try to get these sort of playlists or whatever that, normally are uninterrupted, have like a lot of music, goes for a good while. They don't have to like keep stopping every 2 minutes to put a new song on and all that garbage, On my own, I listen to, full albums and stuff, but I think YouTube has its policies on, like, the copyrights, Some of the stuff that I listen to, like music-wise, for some reason, I like Van Morrison in the fall. I don't know, it's just as I grew up, or rather, during like my teenage years, I discovered Van Morrison, and I must have discovered him in the fall or something, but I was listening to like a popular rock and roll station, and one day I was out like raking or something, but I brought like a little radio outside, and one day they were like, oh, we're doing full albums, and we're, doing these classic albums that are classics, and they're so great, and da-da-da. And today we're going to play the full album of Van Morrison, Astral Weeks. So, does anybody know Astral Weeks? Have you heard that album before? And of course, like anybody else, I know about, Brown Eyed Girl, or it's like the usual hits or what have you. And so I had no idea what like a brilliant genius musician, I want to say Tom Waits for some reason, Van Morrison is, and the album is pretty jazzy, actually. I don't know how to describe it, but it's sort of like if you could mix folk and jazz, and then he has this kind of like really, really strong Irish soul. And when I say soul, I mean like soul music. It's sort of like an Irish R&B kind of thing. Whoa, blew me away. So, yeah, Astral Weeks. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing that right now, but I guess YouTube would give me a strike, and then, bleh, So this is actually super freaking hard what I'm doing right now. When you have to draw small, I'm gonna try to position the camera here. I do remember Astral Weeks, so I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Drawing small is like doing brain surgery. It's super freaking hard because the slightest mistake and then you fudged it. I really don't want to go into Photoshop and have to do surgery on this art and fix it up. It's just, you know, it's more time consuming and all that shit. I would say as an artist, I would love to get some advice from other comics artists about how to draw small. You know, when you're drawing people in the distance or, you know, far away, etc., then what are some techniques you can use, or how should you think about it? You know, and this comes right back to what I was saying earlier about, like, well, this isn't quite like an ego thing, but wanting to learn, you know, having a spirit of seeking knowledge, you know. And I think one of the aspects of this is to try to keep it as simple as you can. Like, don't over render it, you know. The tendency is to want to do that, you know, like, oh, this is the nose and this is what a nose looks like. Well, yeah, but not from 10 feet away, you know. You have to make an impression of a nose or something like that, you know. Another interesting thing is like not making all the lines meet. I think it's kind of an optical illusion that, you know, when you do this kind of illustration and you do make all the lines meet, you're over rendering it, and it just looks boxy and mechanical. It kind of takes the life out of it a bit, I guess. So sometimes, like, for example, if I draw her arm and like right where the elbow is, I just leave it, you know, like I don't connect the lines, then that's sort of where light is falling and hitting that spot. It kind of implies that. And, you know, it's not like it all has to be here, because you're going to see her all throughout the 6 issues, you know. So you don't have to have every single detail in this tiny image here. But I've really kind of come to love this character. I can't say that like I'm a pagan or that I know or practice Asatru or any of these kinds of indigenous spiritualities, but I'm very sympathetic to them. I was watching a documentary on the Druids of Ireland, and I always am suspicious to an extent where, like, how do I say this? How authentic is it? It sounds to me, at least according to this documentary, that a lot was lost to history. That there was no, like, sort of written record of how to practice it. What is it about? Da da da. Rituals, beliefs, something. And, you know, so there's that danger of LARPing, you know. Now, I know that Germanic Asatru, I believe, is far more solid, that it's been retained, preserved, if you will. But I'm not so sure about, like, Druidism, if that's what you call it. So, the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, I'm part Celtic, and it would really be great to know, you know. So somebody was recently pointing out that it's not. Oh, like someone in the documentary was saying something to the effect that it's not that it's anti-Christian, but that it's about knowing the full range of who you are and your traditions and your people. I know Christians are not gonna like that, or whatever. But and I'm sure probably like people who practice indigenous uh, spirituality might even disagree with that as well. But I don't want to go down that road too far. I'm generally for unity whenever it comes to all things white, all things us. Okay, hold on. There it is. Can I use this? See, I used to have another one of these that's much bigger, and I can't find the damn thing. Absent-minded professor. Anyway, I'll just keep moving. I should probably come up with some different music. It's like the doctor's office music or something. I actually, my art studio is inside a doctor's office. Yes, that's found a great deal on an art studio. Either that or an elevator, I guess. I'm gonna check the chat. It's been a while since I've seen what you guys are talking about. Whoa, we got a crew here. All right. All right. Good to see my buddies back. My friends are back. Robert Pyle's here. HBS Victor is here. Good to have you. Unvaxxed seed for sale. Great. Get yours with me. Wow, that's got to be expensive though. Christmas is coming. Gift your sister. Oh dear. Okay. I always over render. Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing. You got to be careful. You have to. Don't go too far. Bear is here. I like to call you Bear because Bear Singe Torix. I mean, you told me before, but I just don't know the reference. No seed soliciting on this show, please. Thank you. Robert Pyle says, I do a better job at drawing small than drawing large. It's less time consuming to draw small than large. There's a thing there. Let's see. Jason says I can send feet pics. You guys, it's so silly. Moving on here. What do we got? Stumble Goat. Now there's a name, Stumble Goat. It's a beautiful draw. I draw now. Okay. Victor says even more easily, I guess. My dog is named Boudica. That name is super familiar. Bodica. What do I know that from? Hollandier is here. Is she part of the new team that isn't Maga Force? Correct, she is. Um, if you think about it, you know what's the all of these characters are narratives, or they're parts of a narrative. They're parts of our culture, right? So within the white identity sphere, we've got, we have pagans, we have Southern pride people, we got the Southern rebels, we've got our kind of unironically fascist guys, and this here, the sheepdog is actually he's really a cop. He's an ex-cop, military guy, who I'm not sure that I've never really written his backstory, but military law enforcement is generally the type of guy that he is. And there's a lot of dudes so that would be kind of like Patriot Front. Think a lot of the guys in Patriot Front, I think, have some kind of military background. It's a personality type, and they're just hoorah, like those kind of guys. So it's what I'm trying to do is show the range. I should probably back out. I don't know if I'm just too close in with all these things here, but I think you guys get the idea. So that's essentially it. Hold on, let me back out a bit. You guys can see what I was trying to show you a minute ago. So it's a range of these different personalities that you see in the dissident right. Let's say you go on Twitter or whatever, and you're going to see all these avatars. I don't have a manga one though. Just have a anime Nazi or some funny thing like that. But anyway, so that's kind of the point of it, is to try to represent these different kinds of people that are in the white identity movement. So let's go back to the chat here. Juan is here. Welcome, Juan. That goes hard. Thank you. Bear says, I was going to say he looks like a Fed. Ooh. So, are you making a joke about how, conservative Republicans always think that Patriot Fronts are Feds, whereas they're not? That is a joke I would get. So, moving on. Stumblegoat says, you have a very good imagination. Hey, thanks, man. That's just that's just scratching the surface of it, man. If you go to my website, you can see a lot more. But thank you. Hollander says, Anna Militia Chan. Wow, Anna Militia Chan. Instead of Militia Man. Dude, I think you just created my next graphic novel. That's what a great concept. I'm going to zoom back in here because we're going to be getting back to work in a second. Cool beans. So, what else? Oh, and this, of course, Militia Man himself being the standard MAGA guy, America First, but he's Christian. That's the thing about him, is that he's kind of my mythos for the Christian nationalist of the future, and that is the intent of this character, his narrative purpose, I guess. So what's the narrative purpose of Batman? And what does he represent? He's a vigilante. What's the narrative purpose of Superman? Well, he's the foreigner, the immigrant, Of course, we all know that Superman's Jewish. So these characters, they have these kinds of symbolisms. Left my ass off. You're welcome. All right. And Anna Militia Chan. That's just so good, dude. And English isn't even your first language, man. You just freaking killed it. I just give you an A+ in English right there. Your English is better than mine, you bastard. I can hear you laughing right now. Anyway. So let us move on with the brain surgery. Good thing I didn't drink so much coffee today. No, I'm kidding. I don't drink so much coffee anymore. But I found out that I can drink it in moderation. Speaking of drinking, I should be drinking water. Shit, I don't have any. Damn it. So here's a cute little thing that you guys might understand. Hang on a second here. So she's got these symbols. She's got, you know, this. That if you're interested in runes and this type of things, but she has these lightning bolts around the bottom of her cape, which I think are pretty cool. And there you go. I'm kind of getting a little sick of this music. I think I need to put on something a little more fun. Maybe a little like synthwave kind of stuff. A little more energetic. So I'm gonna hook that up. Give me a second. My friends. That'll take a minute. Synth wave. So like, you know. Here's one. Synthwave radio. And of course it'll just be one little commercial. I love the mute button when it comes to commercials, you know. It gives me the power. The power of Grayskull. So what are you guys doing for Halloween? Any plans for Halloween? I can't say that I do yet. I don't actually know what day Halloween is on. Actually nervous, excuse me, to draw this because it's so small. Like, when you do it with pencil, you're like, I can always erase it. So let's get my reference sheet out here, okay. I was at the dance club the other night, and there's this super cute girl that I kind of hang out with. She's just, you know, one of the gals on the scene kind of thing. And anyway, that's another story. I won't go down that lane, but she's really unique. She's very pretty. She's like a really strong Eastern European look to her. And you know, I was like, hey, so you know, what are you going out for? What are you doing for Halloween this year? You know, and she's like, you know, somehow or other we were talking about her Halloween costume. You know, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm super into making my own costumes. You know, it's like a thing I do. Oh wow, cool. Wow, tell me more. You know, okay, so for this year, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get like a tire, you know, maybe like some kind of a tire, and I'm gonna put it around my waist, and I'm just gonna go out like that, and I will be the fifth wheel. You know, like, so this is just a little, you know, social joke, like, hi, I'm the fifth wheel. Like, I don't fit in, or I don't belong. I mean, that was just a sort of a cute nihilistic joke type thing, and I'm like, this is why I love you, you know. It's funny because like so she's got like her little crew of girls and guys, whatever. And when I first met her, she had on this really neat outfit that was really something out of like Lord of the Rings. It had this, you know, it was kind of like elfin. It had this sort of like leaf patterns. I just can't describe just how freaking cool it looked. And I was kind of taken away by it, and not to mention just her general beauty and that sort of raw Slavic she has. And so I complimented her. I said, you know, like, oh my God, you know, this is a really beautiful outfit. Girls like that, you know, they like that when you compliment them. And so like, you know, it's kind of the segue right there. And where am I going with this? So I don't know what it was, but I feel as if like maybe after like the second time I saw her, the third time I saw her, I think maybe, you know how moody women can be. Like when I'm trying to be friendly, she was behaving in such a way that was sort of like, you know, I don't want you to flirt with me, kind of. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm not flirting with you. I thought we were buddies, you know, like I'm just I'm here to have fun, you know. I'm whatever. So I kind of like, okay, give her space, and I kind of, backed off a little bit, and just hung out with our mutual friends, this and that. And then like the following few times that I saw her out, I like almost ignored her because I just thought like I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to, push or be weird or rude. And so what happened then is like, oh, now I really want your attention. So it's like hot and cold, red light, green light, hot and cold, red light, green light. So now we're back to being, flirty buddies again. Anyway, so how did I even get on that topic? What the fuck is wrong with me? Let's see what you guys are talking about. Da, 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 da. You write a books with pictures. See, that is correct. Comic books. Walnut and Odelrun. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. Very nice. Thank you. Robert says Batman is Jewish too. No. You've just done a better job of anglicizing him over the years, unlike Superman. You have done. Oh, they've done. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that the character could be said to be Jewish. He's created by Jews. A lot of superheroes are. Like the Jews are all over the comic book industry and stuff. Sideburns is here. Sideburns, good to have you. Thanks for coming. It's great to have you hanging out with us. Pumpkin carving, baby. All right. That's, I've got a pumpkin upstairs. My son's like, oh, I can't wait to carve that with you, Dad. It's our tradition. We gotta do that soon. He's at work right now though. Sideburn says, did you have the segs? I don't know what segs are. So, with that girl. You know what? I'm gonna just be a man of mystery. Stumblegoat says, what's your favorite draw? What is my favorite draw? Tough question there, Stumblegoat. A tough question. I'm gonna have to think about that. Robert says, I'm going to dress up and scare the little kids and hand out candy and then stay up all night watching scary movies. It sounds like a good time. It's the classic dude who dresses up like, he's got like old jeans and old shirt and then like leaves stuffed into his clothes and like a pumpkin head, and you think he's a dummy, and then jumps out at the kids and then, that kind of fun stuff. So Sideburns says, sounds like winner, winner, chicken dinner. Well said. That is very poetic, in fact. D2 is here. What a shock. Good to have you back, D2. Hollandier says we'll just pull a Miles Morales. Oh, Miles Morales. Okay, on Bruce Wayne, yeah. With a white person. If they can do it, why can't we? Oh, God. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Sideburn says Hellraiser is one of my favorite horror movies. There's a Hellraiser comic book. Man, there's a lot out there. I'm a huge Hellboy fan. I love Hellboy. Big fan of Hellboy. But there's so much out there that's just really, really good that it's kind of hard to decide. I'm gonna take a tiny segue. I'm gonna back out a little bit and show you guys a cool series that I would recommend. Kind of move the camera a little. 100 Bullets. So this came out a good while ago. Vertigo is like an imprint or a department of DC that does, rated R books, basically. Books for adults. So there's like sex and violence in them, But look at the use of the shadows. I think this is a good, just sort of from like an art perspective, or a comics arts perspective. This is cool. This is good stuff. The use of the shadows, very Hellboy-esque in a way. This artist, Eduardo Rizzo, he's from South America somewhere. I don't remember what country, but it's pretty neat because it's it's cartoony, but yet like gritty, and the story is very dark. It's, you know, it's kind of like hitmen and gangsters and all that kind of stuff. But noir, it's sort of like comics noir, you know. That's freaking gorgeous right there. Um, I don't think I could compare it to anything, actually. There's nothing that I know that it compares to. But like the heavy use of the shadows, you know, this pulls out like the drama of the eyes. I don't know. I'm enamored with the way that graphics work and how, I don't know, there's something kind of like, it's almost like an abbreviation of reality in some kind of way, and as such, there's less detail to process, and so your mind, I don't know, there's just something fascinating about like the way the mind works in terms of putting pictures and words together. And then from the artist's approach, the use of composition and the real estate of the page, you know, the entrance of the girl, you know, and like the use of the black around the edges here, for example, where then she's, you know, it's kind of like the floor of the office here. So there's not even a panel here. It's just the background space, which is also happening over here. Of course, you've got, you know, your classic sort of window. It's very film noir-esque. This almost is kind of like an Alfred Hitchcock scene right here. You know, it's very cinematic. It's quite fascinating too how comics have automatopoeia, or rather, you know, words that sound like things that sound like things. You know, crash, scream, blah blah blah. It's somehow or other your brain pieces all of that together, and it's quite. When you're really into reading this stuff, your mind is very busy putting all of these things together, and you're really looking for all the details, noticing the details, and coming up with, you know, your own kind of experience. It's a really kick-ass art form. I just am super excited about it. In film and TV, the film does all the thinking for you. It's got all the details, the pacing, you know. Whereas in comics, you really have time to sort of absorb it and put it together on your own, and then develop a sense of relationship with the characters. This is so simple, but yet so powerful as an image, you know. Yeah. So I mean, I nerd out on this stuff. This is really cool. I, in the time that I started learning comics, I reached out to a lot of pro comics guys, and a lot of them, they're very approachable. They're very easy to kind of just get in touch with online, what have you. And they gave me a lot of great advice. You know, and one of the interesting things that I was told, excuse me, that I'll never forget is that, I'll make sure that my camera's focused here. One of the artists that I spoke to said that comics are about exaggeration. And I was like, huh? Like that, it's not kind of what I wanted to hear. You know, I was like, exaggeration? What are you talking about? And he's like, it's an exaggerated reality. It's not, it's more than real. It's super real. It's beyond real. And as such is like sort of fantastical and wonderful. And I thought, oh yeah. actually corresponded with Stan Lee once, and I corresponded. I almost did a comic book or graphic novel for Roy Thomas. If any of you guys know comics at all, you'll know that Roy Thomas was Stan Lee's successor at Marvel. This is going way back, probably in the 70s. And he's really famous for his Conan series. Very, very good writer. He's a writer, editor. And I might have told this story. I hate it when I tell stories like too many times or something. But a while back, I was just involved in a comics venture that, you know, blah blah blah. I won't kind of get into details. Somehow or other, it connected me with Roy Thomas, and you know, for me, it was like super nerd out. You know, like, oh my god, I'm talking to Roy Thomas. You know, and he's just a super sweet guy, just very average. Not average, but like it's just a nice, approachable guy, very friendly. And he saw my style. He says, you know, I really like your style because it has like kind of a Bronze Age quality about it. And I'm like, yeah, those are the comics I like, and I think I just kind of copy the artists that I like from that era, and it just sort of makes sense to me, something, something. It's not like, I guess, the stuff you see today, you know, in comics. And today, I mean, this is just a normal thing in comics, is that a certain style gets popular and then everybody sort of tries to emulate it, you know. A lot of people integrate like Japanese manga into their style, and like, I don't do any of that, you know. I'm kind of mired in the American tradition. Mired is a bad word, but you know, I'm like entrenched, I guess. So he's like, you know, since this is, you know, you have this kind of look, it reminds me of like a script that I wrote for Conan, and you would be the perfect artist for it. Like, can you imagine being told by Roy Thomas, you're the perfect artist for this Conan story I wrote? Like, that's just crazy. That, I mean, try to imagine your favorite movie director coming to you and saying, you know what, there's just something about you that I've got to have you in my next film, you know. Blah, you. So that was pretty cool. And anyway, the weird part about the story is that he had me contact the Robert E. Howard estate to ask them for permission to use Conan. And looking back, I'm like, you know, you're Roy Thomas. Like, you already are in touch with them, you know, because of what you did with Marvel. Like, why don't you call them? Why would you have like a nobody call them, you know? But you know, I didn't think of it at the time. I was like, you know, yes, boss, yes, sir. You know, whatever you say, sir. You know, okay. He gave me the number, and I called, and yeah, hello. You know, I'm a comic book artist. I'm working with Roy Thomas. Of course, they know who he is. You know, and I'm calling about getting permission to use Conan for a new book that he'd like to do. And it was a woman on the phone who was apparently in charge of the Robert E. Howard estate. And at first she was like very polite, kind of very formal. And I thought, you know, I'm talking to the Robert E. Howard estate. Like, this is a formal situation here. And she just sort of patiently listened to me. And then when I was done, she like shredded me. Like, she just like tore me to pieces. Like in the sense of like, we are the Robert E. Howard estate, and like, you know, what makes you think that, you know, you are good enough to be somebody that we would give his the rights to his books and characters to da. And she just like laid into me, and I'm like, is that really necessary? Like, what the hell kind of? And then I was like, this is why Roy Thomas had me called. So he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go through that, you know. And I mean, it's just such a funny story. Like, I'm not made out of eggshells. I'm not gonna fold or something because somebody yelled at me or was a dick about something, was arrogant or whatever. Um, it was shocking, you know. I'll definitely say that. I was totally not expecting that. Um, so that was the end of that. Of course, I got back to him. I told him what happened. And he's like, shit, I was hoping that wouldn't happen. Well, thanks for sending me in there, you know, Colonel. You know, I didn't know I was going to get shot down so bad. But whatever. I mean, it's just sort of kind of neat to know that, like, Roy Thomas wanted me to illustrate a Conan book with him, you know. Maybe I should get back in touch with him. I don't even know if he's still around, to be honest. I kind of have my own mission, though. Anyway, let's see what you son of a guns are talking about up here. Pumpkin carving. Da-da-dee, that's exactly what Hellraiser, it says what I do. I'm excited to take the kid out for Halloween. Oh yeah, hugely. They love that stuff, and that makes it great. Yeah, there's just nothing sweeter than, you know, being a dad and taking your kids out on Halloween. It's like you relive all that stuff. I actually take my son to my old neighborhood, and then I kind of get to be a kid again. I get to enjoy, you know, that feeling. It's wonderful. Robert Pyle says Spider-Man's Jewish too. What? He is? Show me how he's Jewish. I mean, other than Stan Lee wrote him, you know. But I don't know about that. Wing It Productions is here. Awesome sauce. Excellent. Good to have you here. Pyle Parker is Irish. Stan was Jewish. So that's what I'm thinking. Wing It Productions says I didn't know, or no, Robert says I didn't know they anglicized him. I always thought he was Jewish. He always seemed Jewish to me. Well, you know, I've never been that big of a fan of Marvel, so I don't know what they've done with their characters. I mainly was more into DC. That's always a kind of a question when you're having like comics nerd talk, you know, DC or Marvel. I'm a Marvel guy, but anyway, not that I don't like DC. I haven't been into superhero comics in general since I was in my early teens. I'm more into fantasy and horror comics, like why am I blanking out? DK Dark Horse. That's not Dark Horse. I love Dark Horse, by the way. But let's see, Conan, Swamp Thing, Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal. Now you're talking my language. I've always got, you know, stuff like that, like very handy. Creepy and eerie. That's I guess we're gonna take a little side trip down the road of Eerie Magazine here. Let's I think I can, I don't know how close I can get. But I mean, damn, look at that freaking cover. Like, wow, you know? I mean, this is this is people that know how to do art, how to make art, you know. So when did this come out? This was, I'm trying to find the date. Not seeing a date. It's just like hidden it. Let's just say it's October '82. It's up there. So this is what I love is these kind of like gray tone ink wash comics. This is what's his face? Steve Ditko. Actually, I think this whole issue is Steve Ditko. So I won't like go too far into that because that's not really the typical Eerie magazine, but you know it's still pretty fun. Let's see what I just have handy. I got some nice Conans. What else we got here? Oh, okay, here we go. Now, there's a lot of nudity though in these, a lot of like adult situations. Um, this is, but let's see if I can find something that's not too adulty. Um, Mobius. I just did a little look at Mobius's artwork. And this shit like drove me crazy when I was young, and I was like kind of becoming an artist. My imagination was just going off the charts. You know, like wow. So yeah, I freaking love this stuff. This is, I believe, a French artist. I gotta be honest, I never was really a big fan of his. It's very dark and weird. This guy is from, I believe he's Spanish, from Spain. Fernando Fernandez, one of my favorites. Yes, there's just, it is a little dangerous because there's just a lot of sexiness in here. But like, look at that. That's crazy. Look at how freaking amazing that is. It's stunning, right? Good. Anyway, there you go. So these are the things that inspired me to do what I do. Anyway, back to the drawing board. DK's Donald Kent. I'm like, what artist is DK? I'm like, what the hell is that? I know DC Comics. Oh, Donald Kent. That guy. I heard about him. He's all right. Excuse me. So, gosh, it's going on 7 o'clock already. I was more DC myself. I was on a budget. DC would finish a story in one book. Art was better and wouldn't send you to a different title to follow the story. Now that's Jewish. Wing It says Kent art. Wow, that's from '82. Yeah, that's some darn good stuff. Yeah, that's right. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong. Sideburns, you cracked me up. All right, so Robert says, yeah, the guy that founded DC was Jewish. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the history of comics. Richard Corbin, there you go. That's my guy, Richard Corbin. Insane. Like, you can look up some interesting documentaries on Richard Corbin. There's just some of these guys like Richard Corbin, even people like Alex Ross. You know, they're like art madmen. You know, they're like insane guys that all they do is art, and they're so good at it, and they have like entire worlds within their minds that are just like amazing. So I don't know. It's a thing. It's kind of one of the frustrating things for me is I have a lot of stories or worlds in my mind that I'd like to illustrate as well. I complain about that sometimes. Make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, maybe I'll zoom in. Rat God is a cool comic by Richard Corbin. You know, do I know that one? Rat God? Ross couldn't knock out a book like Richard Corbin, but Ross cover art is masterpiece. I love his Power Girl. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's not a lot of guys out there like him, you know. But he's pretty much like the first guy that said, you know, what if these characters were real? Like we've never seen superheroes in like super realistic, photorealistic art, and then he went out and learned how to paint like that and did what he did, and it really, I don't know. I think it brought a lot to the world of comics, it kind of elevated it in a sense because it, you know, sort of smashed through the cartoon version of all that. So like here's the trouble is like taking this costume and then shrinking it way down here and trying to still make it look good, you know. This is a fun character too in the story. He's, I wouldn't call him comedy relief, but he's, you know, he like he's the guy that like ribs the other guys and like he kind of like sort of a ball buster, you know, jokes about stuff and you know just keeps the other guys kind of on their toes a bit. Um, I think it just kind of helps to make the team sort of more fun, you know, because like you can't have all serious characters, and it's sort of neat to see like how do they behave under stress, or how do they behave as a team. I really appreciate you guys being here too. It's be pretty boring without you. You guys are still nerding out up here. All right, hey, Melody Dawn's here. Sweet. All right, oops, this is in the way. Let me get that out of the way. Try and center this for you. Okay, Ross Corbin, Heavy Metal Magazine was the last cover piece before, yeah. Good afternoon, Melody. I had to vote on your channel, The Smiling Face, entertaining novel. Informative, I hate this crap. Hello everyone, Noid Guilt. Kent Art, your website is looking great. Hey man, thanks, appreciate it. Melody says, yes, you're the channel, not your. Um, I'm not totally understanding what you're saying about voting. I had to vote on your channel. Um, where is there a vote on my channel? Am I stupid? I don't know. Maybe I need a little help. Either way, great to have you. All right. Did anybody catch me on Discordant Dragons last night? I was on Yiz's show, Discordant Dragons. That was my first time there on the show. It was really cool. I had the impression that it was more of like a Dungeons and Dragons show, and I'm like, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, so I don't know why would I want to be on that show. She had asked me on like many times, and I didn't really get that she uses the format of that game, but it's more like a political conversation, with like pop questions, I guess. Excuse me. And so I really, really enjoyed it. Being on the show. It was great. And so much so, actually, that I said, I would definitely do this like regularly with you. So looking to do that. I think she said like monthly would be cool. So it's up to her, but like she's an old friend. We've been kind of on this scene for a good while, and obviously she's pretty well established. She's does a lot of good work, and each of us we all do kind of our own things, I guess, but it all ties together, you know. So there you go, and now you know. It's funny. Some years ago, where was I? I was in some kind of situation with a friend who he likes guns. He's got like all kinds of guns, and he had some like, big badass type gun. And he was like, hey, you want to check this out here? Do you like guns? And I'm like, well, I like drawing guns, you know. They're actually not easy to draw. There's a lot, of just doohickeys and what's and mahoozits. But they're neat. The other thing to keep in mind when you're looking at this work is that I'm going to have a digital colorist color all this stuff. So it's not only going to be colored, but there'll be different kinds of lighting and shadow patterns. You know, it's essentially going to have that kind of pro comics quality to it. If you look at a lot of comics art that's just inking black and white, yeah, the coloring does like a lot of the work. It does a lot of the heavy lifting, and the the line work is sort of like meh. You know, after you see how freaking amazing it looks when it's colored, you know. I don't know. I mean, there's just something to it, you know. But that's quite a bit down the road. So yeah, since I got more people here, I can make some announcements. Today, if you haven't seen already, I did an interview with a guy named Paul at Patri Arts, which is the patriotic art community in the UK. It was very cool. It was a great show. And after the show, he and I were talking, and we're going to hook up a weekly show. I guess I can kind of tell you what it is. Him and I are both going to do live drawing. So like on your screen, I'll be here, he'll be here, and we're both going to be drawing on a theme every week. So the theme could be, I don't know, our ancestors, or no white guilt, or 14 words, or any who knows what, right? And so that should be pretty interesting. And then we'll have other guests on. Moving on, Milla does art is here. Hey Milla, welcome. Hello from an artist. All artists are welcome here, that are not anti-white. Great to have you, Milla. Welcome to the crew. Vardabox says it's called Discordant Dragons, yes, on YouTube. But well, she has a bunch of channels, and she broadcasts on YouTube, but then deletes it because the topics are political, and the rest of the story. But I think you could just Google Discordant Dragons, and you'll find it probably. Shows are deleted. You can find it on Odyssey. Yeah. Melody says to me, as I saw you come up live on YouTube, has a vote. Oh, I didn't know that. With emotion or emojis, I chose the happy face, entertaining, informative. Oh, novel. Okay, thank you. That's nice. I appreciate that a lot. Again, like I said, I'm pushing the site. The YouTube. I'm trying to get the marketing going, doing more shorts, doing more shows. There's going to be some pretty serious announcements coming out shortly that are related to our world, and I'm doing kind of my part to bring my channel up to carry the torch and do some things, for our community. So it's all coming together beautifully. Has anyone else seen what what I'm talking about? Well, I gave the smiley face. Well, God bless you. Thank you very much for doing that. Much appreciated, Lassie. Robert says, I wasn't much into Dungeons and Dragons much when I was younger, but I have played it before with my cousin. He used to be really into it. Melody says, and good check boxes for this channel. Thank you again. All of those things are appreciated. Robert is saying, I like a lot of Dungeons and Dragons artwork, though. Some of my favorite fantasy artists worked on that game. Yeah. Melody says, comics are coming along. Great, thank you. I need to start drawing again. Was good at drawing bad bosses on the printing presses. And as I was a roll tender, my drawings went through the press, and I got in trouble for drawing asshats. Or is that, or oh no, AH? Does that mean who I think it is? You, we're always speaking in code here. But I'd like to see some of your drawings. Do you have a link or something you could pop in there? I'd love to see it. Any artists that are in my come to see my shows, and please communicate with me, contact me. Yeah, it's just always cool to bring all that together. Wing It says, "Have you ever read Too Much Coffee Man?" Yes, yes. Being the kind of the comics guy that I am, you come across that stuff. That's fun. Great biz model. Mm. Melody says, 9,000-pound paper rolls. I drew the jerks on the splice to connect to the other roll. Okay. Wing It. Okay. Jesus la Jesus. Welcome to the club. Someday everything gonna be okay when the oh my god, dude, you're quoting my song. That makes me feel like a king, dude. I appreciate that a lot. I really, really do. Thank you so much. Hollandier says such a catchy tune. Cassidy is here. Hey, welcome, Cassidy. I love to paint too. Cool beans. Jesus says it's my favorite tune to chug milk and goose step around the house. You do that too? Oh my god! I thought I was the only one. Chase Simpson is here. This is a cool show, man. It was such a great crowd. Is this Star Wars? No, this is one of my original stories. I'll maybe pull up some art from this story. Actually, if you just go to my website, you'll see Militia Man is the name of the story that I'm working on. Somewhere around my YouTube, you're going to find kent-art.weebly.com. So Robert says, I'm going to head out. I'm going to make me some tacos. All right there. Good having you on, buddy. Good seeing you again. Thank you so much. I'm just really impressed with you guys that you all come and hang out with me. And, we get to have some funny conversation, interesting conversation. Good stuff. Chill stream. All right, so I need to do a little reference. Find that one character. Where is he? Here he is. Okay. Music okay for you guys? Hope so. Oh man, I've been working on all these songs, but I can't. I just having a little tricky time trying to get the lyrics. I'm searching myself. Like that's really the hardest part of writing the song. Is what do you say and how do you say it? It's not that. I mean, I've got a lot to say, but it's more the point of like making sure that it's said in such a way that is beautiful or powerful. You do, as an artist, you do kind of question yourself, like, is this worthy of saying? Is this a weird topic? Is this, there's always that kind of sort of slightly second guessing yourself thing that happens. I don't normally suffer from that, just in life in general, but in art, though, I think there certainly is a kind of it's not self-doubt, um, and it's not really like creative block, but you're really just waiting to know that it's right. There's certain, like, when I came up with that lyric, everything's gonna be all right, when the Imperium comes. That came out of me completely naturally. Like, it's not even something I think I would say, just like normally, you know. But I was just kind of goofing around with it. I think I was just playing around with the guitar and the song, and I just thought, everything's gonna be okay, when the Imperium comes. And then I'm like, holy shit, that's it, like it's bang, and it just hit me. And that is a moment, that's a moment. When that happens, it's just like, oh, this just feels so good when it's so right. Um, but maybe I that's a luxury. Maybe I can't wait for that. I should just you know, sit down and force myself to write some songs. I mean, I have lots of music, lots of music. I could pull the guitar out right now and just jam out for you guys. Might be a little weird because you can't see me. Oh, excuse me. But I'm super excited about getting that going. I'm trying to. I have like one friend that I know locally who does recording. He's got a nice little recording studio, and he would be totally game to have me over and help me out with recording my songs. Um, I don't. He's. I don't know how to say this in a way that's like not rude or something, but like there's things about him that are kind of like, oh, I don't know, like he just will take me down roads that I don't want to go down. I'm being very vague, but meaning like he's a lovely guy. There's nothing wrong with him, but he's just sort of all over the place. And I'm not in a place in my life where I need that right now. I'm working on focusing and doing my thing, and I appreciate people care and want to help me and stuff. But somehow everybody's got a project that they want me to be a part of, and I'm like, you know, it looks like a good project. It's cool for you, but I got my own thing, and it is what it is. But I'm gonna have to kind of probably go to him because like these things aren't gonna get recorded if I don't. So I'll just have to kind of be patient with like his lunacy. And I don't mean to paint him in a bad way. Of course, you guys don't know who this person is, but I don't know. Do you ever have like a friend who just kind of talks a lot, and then you're like, well, I really want to get this thing done, or I really want to get going, or and then you feel like you could have done twice as much in the time that it took, you know, and I don't know. Am I being a jerk? Maybe it's me. Yes, it's me. I'm a jerk. There you go. Donald Kent, the jerk. Anyway. Gotta remember your drop shadows. Alright. Let's see if you guys are saying some cool things. No capes. Okay, Robert had to head out. Pro Gamer is here. Hi, I'm new. Welcome, Pro Gamer. Good to have you here. Um, my son's a huge gamer. He's just awesome and all that stuff. So I'm kind of like, the guy that sort of, so tell me about the new game you're doing, or what's a cool game, or what's the culture, and I'm trying to plug in with all that stuff. Excuse me. Bear says, "Yep. You ever listen to Gold Room? I haven't heard of Gold Room. You may like him. Oh, and Cascade and Dead Mouse 5. Totally know Dead Mouse 5 for sure. Are back at it again. Oh, that's cool. All right, well, I'll look that up. I'll look those up, man. I really appreciate any kind of music tips. What else? Dead Mouse 5 is pretty huge, though. Jesus says, that song has pulled me up and out of some dark places. Wow, thank you for that. Oh, man. Really, there's nothing better that an artist could ask for than that. I mean, that's heavy stuff right there, my man. I'm really moved to hear you say that, man. Wow, that's powerful. And that is what it's all about, people. Okay, it's not just goofy playtime, fun. Okay, art is profound. It's the communication between two human souls. It's about bringing together communities and cultures. Art is immortality. It operates on an etheric plane, a spiritual plane, a cultural plane. It's powerful. And to be able to have helped you is like, that's a great success. That's a great success. I'm very grateful for you. Thanks for telling me that. Bear says you need to get text to speech for your streams. Wow, I never thought about that. That way your chat can respond without you having to take breaths and go back. Da da da. You know what? I have my laptop open next to me here with the stream. I don't see the chat in it though. Weirdly, I could actually type the chat in. I'll have to figure that out. That's a pretty neat concept. Oh, there's a breaks and go back. Yeah. Hollandier says the kind of guy that'll take 3 times the effort to keep focused on the task as it otherwise would. They are usually good people, but damn, yeah, dude, I know, and it's like, um, I'll tell you this story about him, and like, just straight out, like, he's a wonderful human being. Like, he's a lovely person. This isn't some kind of like a bash. Um, and he'll never see this show because he's not in our political spectrum. So, but here's the story. So, okay, he's a guitar player, songwriter, singer. Like, I compare him to, what do you call the guy? Nirvana. Who's the singer of Nirvana? Why am I blanking out? Uh, why am I an idiot? Like, why do I do this? I'm super smart, but I can't remember the name of the singer. Kurt Cobain. So he's like a Kurt Cobain type guy. He's like crazy brilliant artistically, musically, but extremely troubled. Had, depression issues. He was an alcoholic. And again, I'm like, no names. I'm not trying to go into his personal blah blah blah. He overcame all that. Like, he's all that's the past, right? Okay, but so his band was like, my band. I've been in lots of bands, and we played some kind of benefit long years ago. Great show, yada yada. And he was like the other band at the venue for the benefit. And him and his, whatever, he did his original music, and I was like, man, this is really good. I love this guy's music. It's kind of the type of an indie rock kind of flavor to it. Kind of generally sort of sad though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a general sadness to the music. But I actually resonate with that, and a lot of people do. Really, it's not. Let me make sure you guys can see what I'm drawing here. I'm too. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this sort of like that. Should hopefully work. So, he loves my band, and I love his music, and we don't live too far from each other. We become good friends, and we start a band. I mean, it starts off just like jamming, in his basement with all his equipment and a couple other musicians that he knows, and partying and good times, just typical rock and roll guys, having a good time and making fun music, da da da, a lot of fun. Um, and this is actually before I became who I am now. So I wasn't sort of politically where I am, racially where I am now either at that time. So, but anyway, moving on, I'm going way off the charts. Long story short, we we created this phenomenal band, and it was like half covers and half originals. We had this like extraordinary drummer. He's like a studio drummer. He'd been in a billion bands, and when I say studio drummer, that means someone who is exceptionally talented and like used on tracks for like pro bands, and just like you know pretty incredible drummer. So like between my songwriting skills and the talent in this band, and then the guitar player's skills, we were really really hot. And I did the work to hook up. I guess I can tell you who they are. I contacted Brooklyn Brewery, and I said, we're doing a show at this time and place, and I want you to come out and check us out, and we'd like to be part of your like promotional. I don't know how to describe this. Basically, Brooklyn Brewery sponsors concerts that are all over America, and they have like opening local bands, and then they have big name bands, Bruce Springsteen and shit. I'm talking big name bands. And so when you're a part of the Brooklyn Brewery concert series or whatever they called it, then you're right pretty much on the doorstep of making it. You see what I'm saying? And this has been my dream since in like high school. I always wanted to make it in music, right? So the representative comes out to the show, knocked his socks off, totally freaking was just totally blown away. And I'm kind of a good sort of marketing salesy guy. I like a networker guy. I know how to talk to people and get things going. And he's like, you're on board. You're in. Call me on Monday. I'm gonna do A B C D F G, this that and the other thing. And so there were just a number of things happening, and like I can't tell you how happy I was. So it looks like we're heading in this direction, and we're kind of about to make it. You could imagine, of course, we're going to start writing and recording more, and this is it. I'm like, damn, this is it. This is my big break. Just like my big break with Roy Thomas. Remember that one? And anyway, one day the guitarist I'm talking about, he kind of has like a sort of a mini meltdown, and he's like, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and this is Brooklyn Brewery, and I just don't feel that this is like morally right, and I can't go ahead with this because I'm against alcohol. And I pretty much wanted to kill him. Yeah, I pretty much wanted to kill him. I'm like, look, you don't have to drink, like you go do yourself. And like, this is not about alcohol, asshole. This is about our music careers, you fuckhead, like do not throw the baby out with the bathwater, or whatever you want to call it. Like do not do this. And no, I thought about it and da da da, and I made my mind up. Well, that was like the end of my friendship with him, as you can imagine. I can't even describe like how crushed I was and how angry I was. So that's the same guy that has the recording studio. Now that was years ago, and I let go. I forgave. I moved on. But it's just a weird kind of thing that's just there. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that he didn't forget that happened. But I'm not gonna live in the past. I'm not gonna hold that over him forever or whatever. You know. Um, and there is something to say for the possibility that, like, well, maybe it wasn't really meant to happen. Maybe that would have been a bad thing for me. You know, like, yeah, I don't know. You know, like, I don't know, died in a plane crash or some fucking thing. Anyway, let's check out what you guys are talking about. Not much, I guess. I'm in storytelling mode, so you're listening. My channel's here. Woo! Hey, had to unpack. Saw you started, but just really started listening here. Well, so you came in on my story. I got a lot of stories, actually. Um, a lot that can't be told, but I don't know. Let's leave it at that, I guess. So yeah, I'll. I actually just ran into him at a party over the summer, um, and I mean, there's that sort of knee jerk, like, oh, it's you, that kind of. Do you ever, see someone you haven't seen in a while, and you're like, oh, damn, that thing, it just like comes right back, But I'm like, okay, let it go, it's fine, relax. Hey, how you been? I mean, he was super happy to see me. He wants to be friends again, you know. And I should be friends with him again. There's a lot of other things about this guy that are wonderful. Like, of course, he's all cleaned up and that. Um, very, very spiritual person. And, we used to get into a lot of really cool conversations about religion and just weird esoteric stuff that I love. I'm into weird esoteric stuff. Um, and there's not a whole lot of people you can actually have these kinds of conversations with. Um, everybody has their own frame. They have their own kind of, this is my belief system. And so people generally are looking for confirmation of what they believe, right? It's just human. So there's this, kind of limitations on what I could talk about, but not too bad. Like he's, uh, you know, it was still intellectually very, very interesting. Um, but some of these conversations get very, like, hippy dippy and kind of fluffy, goofy and stuff. So I sort of try to steer away from that. There was a time when I was at his house, like the last time I saw him, um, and I don't know if I should say this, but there was he works in, like, or at the time he worked in, like, a very, very bad black neighborhood, and I was like, geez, he's telling me about, like, the I don't know, the drug addicts and stuff that come in the store and try to do this and that, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Why in the hell do you work there? Like, quit and get a job that's not putting your life in danger, you idiot. Like, but he's got this kind of weird savior complex, I guess, and oh no, it's only gonna help the people, and da da. And I said, you know what? You can help them, but you can't fix them. And he got really mad when I said that, and then we kind of got into a bit of a race realist type discussion, and I don't edit myself, I guess, as much as I should. Um, I'm still learning that, like, when you tell the truth to people that aren't ready for it, they fucking explode. And I think that kind of makes me an asshole, actually. there's a part of me that's like, fuck you, grow up. And then there's a part of me that's like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. And I feel like, well, maybe I should kind of stop pushing so hard, you know. Um, After I said that, he's like, you know what, it's time for you to leave. I'm like, oh, that's an adult way to handle it, you know. But I was kind of, like I said, this is the same guy that I'm like, do I really want to be friends again? Because this is just going to become a huge time suck. Like he was already asking me, like, oh, dude, we could get a band together, and like, oh my god, we could get a band together and do all this cool stuff. Man, he doesn't talk like that, but it's kind of that type of a feeling. And I was like, yeah, well, I really would love to, like, but I just don't have time. And I don't have time for a band. I mean, it would be fun or whatever, but like, I've got goals. I got projects. Um, it's tough. I mean, I know some like amazing musicians. The keyboard player in my band, every time, God bless him, I love him and all that, but like every single time I see him, he like tries to talk me into back into getting into a band. And I feel like a jerk saying like, I don't have time, something, something. Um, yeah, it sucks, man. This is the whole thing. Like if I were rich, you better believe I'd have a band. It's like because I'd have time. You know, and like many friends that are like, dude, why don't you play this show or get this or do that or do that to do. I'm like, you guys you don't understand how what the time investment there is in this. It's huge. Rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing, practicing on your own, and getting setting up the gig and lugging the equipment, but then the magic, oh the magic. So I keep saying, well, I wouldn't mind a band that played my songs. Can you imagine that? That'd be pretty sweet. Oh, you guys haven't commented. I guess I've got you captivated with my stories. Um, Stretch a little bit. Sitting and drawing for hours, you gotta stretch. It's funny. Like I'll watch a little bit of my own streams just to kind of like, okay, how did that go? How did that sound? But something I've discovered is just sort of kind of how mesmerizing it is to watch the inking. It's actually kind of relaxing. Especially with this like spacey music too. So I'm super excited to do this new show uh, with Paul from Patriarchs. That's going to be cool. Made an announcement to the monthly White Art Challenge group, and um, they're excited about it. Always the hard part is getting the time. Like there's a dude on there who he's from Denmark, and he wants to join the show. Um, and then like of course Paul's in the UK. I'm on the East Coast. It is okay. We're gonna try. We're gonna try to get the timing worked out. I guess the other thing too is just like the timing for the viewers, right? Like who's free at you know 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday or something. There are really not many people, you know. Yeah, there's the playback and stuff, but this particular show, we're looking to have audience engagement. Like, we're gonna take requests, okay? So like right now, I'm gonna take a request from one of you guys in the audience, okay? I'm getting out a pad of paper and like, I gotta find some plain paper here. All my pads are full. And then you say like, if you can come up with a funny, cool idea, I'll do like a fun little sketch right now for you as a request. Okay. Here we got some paper here. So, like, what would be cool to see? What would be a fun, cool thing to see? I'll wait for you guys to respond. But until I hear something, I'll keep working. So that's going to be part of the show, you know, is sort of taking requests, if you will. All right. Did you answer my question? I stepped away. I forget. I'm sorry. What was your question again? I apologize. I'm gonna run back up here. There's for some reason my phone sort of like looked like it stopped, and then like suddenly all these messages just popped on, so it didn't come through. Let me go back. Look at this efforts. Keep focused. Yes. Hey, I had to unpack. Hello, Maritza Martinez. Welcome. Nice to have you. Great to have new friends here. Welcome. Hollandier says a robot with lemons for eyes riding a lion. Oh, gee. Okay, let's make a monkey out of Donald Kent. No. I mean, I could do that, but I'll do that. I'll do if that's the only one, then I'll do that. Jay says you put us on the spot. Haha. Good. Great to see you, Jay. Thanks for coming. Hollandier, oh dang, thought you were doing requests. I will. I just, for some reason, my message is jammed up. And then Wing It, I'm sorry, I don't remember what your question is. Just write it down there one more time. So, just to show you that I'm a man of my word, Now, what did you say? A robot with lemon eyes riding a lion. Okay. Well, what would such a thing look like? Let's try to get a darker pencil so it should show up a little bit better. Well, for starters, a lion, I guess I can't get too large. A lion is gonna, are you guys seeing this? Are you? I'm gonna kind of zing it down there a little bit. So when you draw, you sort of start off like so. And I can't say that I'm like a master of anatomy of lions. I don't think that's not like, I'd have to use some photo references. But let's kind of get this worked out here. So as you can see, I'm just sort of kind of lightly sketching it. Get the nose action going on here. You seeing that? You guys seeing that? Okay. I'll just move up a bit. There we go. All right. Might need to fix this up a bit here. Pencil in my mouth for it. Maybe again, without a photo reference, I'm not super sure what the anatomy would be like on their head exactly, but this is just from my mind, you know. Probably something like this. And like, if he's riding it, what is this robot gonna look like? Huh. That is a very curious concept. This is ridiculous. Hollandair, I can't believe you're making me do this. What a guy. Tell you the things I do for my buddies. You seeing that? Is that focusing? Okay, there you go. Don Lemon Eyes. Oh my god. Oh, you guys are too much. Now, when you say lemon eyes, I'm not actually thinking like real lemons, but I'm thinking like lemon-shaped eyes. You know, just because I'm sort of trying to keep the robotness going. I just suddenly realized that like this concept design, I guess, is reminds me of the robot from. There's a robot that kind of looks like this in the movie Heavy Metal. It's the 1980s movie. I don't know if I like that hand. I don't think that works, but anybody here see that movie? So that was silly. Okay, that was very silly. So enough silliness from. Let's call this robot DK12. Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah. And he's gonna be saying, "Hi, Helen, dear." There you go. You saw it first on Donald Kent's art stream. Okay, there you go. Voiced by John Candy. Yes, yes. Good, good, good. All right. Hey, Flame Fox is here. Wow. Flame Fox is see now, look what you guys made me do. I gave a horrible first impression of Flame Fox. Okay, I think this is your first time here, Flame Fox. So this is really more about what this channel is about. So, or part of this channel. I've got a lot of different content on this channel, or this YouTube. Incredible. I'm very glad you liked that. I'm very glad you liked it. Okay, Yepper. Well, welcome, sir, or ma'am, or person. Are you an artist, Flame Fox? I gotta jump back, check out the text or the messages. Don Lemon Eyes. Okay. Wing It's asking, what should the poster be? Go Liger. Oh yeah, Liger. Oh my gosh. It's taking form, yes. Big anime eyes. Looks like the robot from Heavy Metal. Yeah, yeah. Get it on with a human female. Yeah, yeah. Incredible. Epic. Playing the motivational speaker who lives in a trailer by the river. Down by the river. That's one of the best SNL skits ever. Otherwise, you'll be living in a van. Sorry, I won't try to do it. Kinda. Flame Fox is kind of an artist. I don't consider myself as an artist, but I don't really know. Well, I guess you are what you do, right? So if you make art, fill in the blanks. All right, so back to the show. Got to I'm sort of drawing the bottom part of the page here. I don't know how well you can see it. Haha, that was awesome. Cool, cool. I'm glad you liked it. It's Hollander's fault, just so everyone's clear. It's his fault. Okay. All right. So in this part of the story, the old man tells Militia Man that Judeo-Christian News murdered his superhero team, and he's there to save them, and he has to understand that FASH Force are not the bad guys, and that they're meeting up with him because they tried. Judeo-Christian News tried to kill him, and MAGA Force. This is all part of the comic story, the graphic novel story. So since Militia Man thinks these guys are bad Nazis, he gives them the finger here, and he's like, I don't work with Nazis. So like this whole story is his transformation, kind of figuring out about controlled opposition and the way politics work. But at this point in the story, it's still very early, and he's not red-pilled yet. So he's going to have a fight with these guys in the upcoming pages.